But the cat did get French passport much faster.
He did.
He was the first European in the family. Yeah.
Like, is it able to be a real debate at the table and then you can move on and it doesn't change your feelings about the person?
Oh, we never move on. Because that's why we protest.
Never move on. There's a sense of richness and presence to each day and when you do things that I think the French bring. The last time we got a crepe on the street, I had to stop and eat it, and then I could move on. I couldn't walk and eat anymore.
You're turning.
I'm losing the ability. It's like some strange evolution.
Pain au chocolat or chocolatine?
Oh, chocolatine.
Wine, cheese, or pastry?
Why would you ask this question?
Jason and Raina, or Raina in French, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
It's exciting to be here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, well, we're two people from the southwest of France meeting in Paris.
I know. Did you order a chocolatine this morning?
Well, they didn't want to take the order.
No.
But thank you for, doing the journey to Paris so that we can have this conversation today. You're like internet famous as well. That's how I found you like
I don't think so, but thank you.
year ago, I don't know. Yeah.
That's, sometimes have you heard that niche famous where it means that like 30 people who are really interested in one thing know who you are and no one else?
That's much more than 30, yeah. But I mean, you're being modest. That's great. That's great. So, people probably have heard you or may hear from your accent. I could not do that, but you're from the US.
Oui.
The both of you.
La Texas.
We're both Texans.
Yep.
Texans at heart, yeah.
Texans original, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I was born in Oklahoma, the neighboring state, but we don't talk about that. It's very, there's a big rivalry there. And then I moved to Texas when I was 5, so.
Well, you were all predestined to be French. We love doing those neighborhood rivalries here, Whoever's your neighbor is probably a bad guy.
We're still trying to choose our rugby team because the crazy thing is when sports are very big in the U.S. And of course he has been a lifelong Astros fan because he was born and raised in Houston.
Houston teams, yeah.
So you can't be a fan of anywhere else, right? You grew up in Houston, you're a Houston Astros fan. But when you move to a new country, you get to choose all of your
Any
sports
team you
teams,
want.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not loyal to anyone. So we went to a Toulouse rugby game. We haven't been to a Bordeaux one yet. We have to choose our rugby team, and it's serious stuff.
Oh, it kind of is, especially in the southwest of France. Yes. They give you a bit more slack in the southeast, but southwest.
Right, and we're halfway between them. So, I know.
Could still go either way.
Yeah. Or you can go for football, which you don't call the same, but we won't go into this.
Another controversial topic.
But exactly that. So you actually, it's quite rare usually. I mean, probably you talk with a lot of Americans as well. On average, Americans would rather go to the east side or the northern side of France. So you're probably surrounded with Brits, especially in the small village you're in. But you bought a place there, didn't you?
We did.
We've been here almost 3 years now, but we did finally buy a house, and it's a very international area, I think. But it is mostly British. There's not a lot of Americans on the ground. We're still pretty rare.
We're a bit exotic. I would say in our town specifically, Eymet, it's about 25% international residents. And so out of, we're a little over 3,000 people there.
Yeah.
So you've got about 20% Brits and then the 5% that's Australians, Americans, South Africans, Dutch, Anglophones. But
okay. So there's actually a lot more, because I remember seeing, for example, in the insurance industry, all of those British guys we were working with, but I keep on saying this name, Eymet. And I was like, what's this town about?
Well, the funny history of Eymet was that the family that we bought our house from is a French family. They had owned the house for 100 years in the area, so they knew lots of history they shared with us. And they said in Bergerac, the regional airport, around 30 years ago, there was an immobilier. He wanted to sell houses to the English, and he thought, if they have a way to get here and back easily, it'll be easier for me to sell houses. So somehow he campaigned. They were already looking to reopen a regional airport in the area. He somehow campaigned and helped grease the wheels to get it Bergerac, and then he started marketing houses in Eymet to the English, and here we are.
Took off from there.
Sometimes it just takes one person.
It's good. But that's quite clever.
It
Okay,
was,
it's
yeah.
great.
But,
And you do pronounce the town's name the right way because it's not an easy one. So.
You do hear it many different ways.
We have,
yeah.
yes.
And funny enough, we actually avoided it for a while. It wasn't where we lived originally. We were about 30 minutes closer to Bordeaux and Sainte-Foy-le-Grand. And, we thought, well, we came here to live in France, and Eymet has this reputation of having this quarter, Anglophone population. But we just happened to find a house we loved there. And also, now that we're there, we find it's a very fun mix because the mayor and the Marie is very open to this. He feels that people have brought more life into, many of the French villages. People, they have to leave, they find work in the cities, and the village life begins to sort of become the absence of vivant, I guess, lively. And the reverse has happened there. Partly, I think, because as the foreigners have moved and fixed up houses and supported the restaurants, more French have moved there with families. The school is more supported, so I think it's sort of been a net positive there. And you can feel that there's, I think I've seen a couple of programs where they've made it out to be that there's some sort of, animosity is too strong of a word, but like there's a bit of a friction between the two groups, and we haven't felt that really at all. And we've, kind of hung out with a mix of all of them. So it's a bit of an interesting place, I think, in the middle of the French countryside.
Well, yeah, this is something I like to say about France. I think, yeah, you're right. When people say, like, for example, Parisians are rude or things like that, like those stereotypes, I think, well, I won't say you get what you're sending across, but it's kind of that. If you're being nice to people, usually you don't get that,
Right.
But maybe, obviously, if you're like the stereotypical kind of tourist and you're demanding and stuff, yeah, maybe the French, they're not like the Americans. They're not trying to pretend, though, so they may come across as rude. But I think if you're being nice, usually it goes well, and that's... You've been around for 3 years, so you would know now.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. The cultures are different, right? Coming into France from the U.S., I think... generally, French are less open to just, greetings on the street, random conversations, people you don't know. There's less interaction, less friendly conversation with someone you've never met before. But all it takes is to make an effort, and you're kind of we've felt at least, even trying bad French or hammering out some mix of Franglish, just so many people have been welcoming, opening, and warm.
Yeah.
We've really felt embraced, I think, by so many different people all over the French countryside, and even here in Paris. People
still talk about Parisians being short, and we've had so many good experiences, even like running into
people going out of their way to help us when. Yeah.
I feel like the French people. I'm not sure. Like first, either they've gotten a bad rap because they're wonderful, or you guys want to try and keep the secret of how amazing this place is. And they're like, if everyone thinks we're a little rude, maybe they won't come. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
That would be good marketing, though. Reverse marketing.
No, it really is wonderful. It's a big part of the reason we stayed in France.
Actually, for those listening who may not know, where did you actually move? Like, where is it in France? Because, you talked about that, but like it's in the southwest, but like, where is it located? Because most Americans may probably never heard of that.
This is a random town.
And we had certainly never heard of it before we moved. But we are like equidistant between Toulouse and Bordeaux. So about an hour and a half from each town. Kind of, if you look at the two on the map, stick your finger in the middle, we're right around there.
Right in the countryside.
Right in the countryside. Yep.
Yeah. Which is... Also, distances are completely different here. Like you're like couple hours from those places you've mentioned, which for us would be seen as a long distance, but I suppose for you guys.
No, I mean, being from Texas, we had family in every major city: Houston, Dallas, Austin. So you might drive 5 hours just to have Sunday lunch. That's not completely unusual. So yeah, some of our French friends.
How far are you from Bordeaux?
I think now we're like 90 minutes, depending on traffic.
So let's say like less than a couple hours.
Yeah, less than 2 hours. Yeah. Definitely less than 2 hours, and probably right at 2 hours for Toulouse.
Talking about Texas, yeah, like you did a big leap. Like you went from like corporate life in Texas to rural life in France.
Yes.
Houston, see if I got that.
You got it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a big shift. When we originally moved, we came to France as like a 1-year exploration. We're going to go for a year. We're going to do our thing. We're going to come back to the U.S. and restart things.
Yeah, we thought it'd be like a sabbatical. Juliana would get to see much more of Europe than she would if we were just taking the 2-week American vacations.
Yeah.
Each year.
And I quit my job to come here, and I kind of took on the role of, Raina kept working. She moved her business over here. She continued to work every day. But I did more of the administrative stuff, the life stuff, the laundry, the cooking, all the school things.
This is why he knew
finding where the peanut butter was at all the different stores.
This is why he knew all the French food vocabulary words way before me.
Yeah,
he seems like a catch. Well, actually, speaking about those guys, you also have a cat. You moved with, well, 1 or 2 kids?
1 kid, 1 cat.
1 kid, 1 cat. That was a cat. So 2 kids.
Yeah.
One of those being a cat.
Yeah.
But the cat did get French passport much faster.
He did.
he was the first European in the family. Yeah,
Is he,
made it.
because he has a French passport now, is he more sophisticated now?
Well, his personality did change.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
He probably, of all of us, he underwent the biggest change upon coming here.
We're joking, but it's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
Night and day.
for real.
The day he got
Like-
off the plane, he was a different guy. In the U.S., he hid inside. He was an inside cat. He
He was
hid.
kind of a fraidy cat.
The doors opened. He'd go into the closet. Any noises outside, he'd hide. And that's fine. That's who he was for 14 years, maybe.
Yeah.
When we got here, it was completely night and day. And we were out in the countryside. We were out places that he could be outside. And every day, I think he was outside.
Oh.
Chasing the French squirrels, looking for mice, looking for
Because he
frogs.
was trying to pronounce the word.
Écureuil?
Écureuil.
Oh, I wasn't even close.
No.
I've been told this is
Someday.
the hardest one to pronounce
I
for you
think
guys.
it is the hardest
It's
word.
so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was funny. We had, the shutters that rolled up and down, the metal ones on this sliding door at the first place we rented. And in the mornings, when he would hear it go up, he would come running across the house to go outside into the French countryside. He just loved it.
He loved it,
Yeah. So he was, we feel like he was, we actually lost him earlier. Was it this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last. And I mean, he was 16 at that point. He wasn't a young guy, but we feel like he got to retire in France. That's how we think of it.
Yeah.
So he lived his best life in
That's amazing.
his French countryside retirement.
And that's a cat who probably grew like a mustache like this towards the end. But then there's you guys as well, because you're living in like a 2,500, 3,000 souls big place, or small, I should say. There are things which are completely like stereotypical to the French countryside, like I wouldn't know how to translate that, like les fêtes de village. Have you experienced those things?
That's the best part of the year, I think.
Oh, it is.
Can you explain what it is actually? Because they're probably clueless.
Yeah.
How would you translate that and what it is?
Oh gosh. Well, we talked about this, and a block party is not an equivalent in the U.S. where you would think about having a party with your neighbors because the French village fête, it feels much more organized. It's much more like a dinner party that involves your whole town. Because the Marie, the town hall, is going to put out long tables somewhere nice in town, right? Maybe it's a park, maybe it's behind a church, maybe it's Main Street. And then there's, the long tables. Everyone brings their own. There are no paper plates and paper napkins, which is one of those things where in the U.S. you've always got to figure out who's bringing it if you have a block party. No, everyone's going to bring their own table settings. We always bring tablecloths.
Yeah.
I would say at least half of the people usually also, you set a whole table with your wine glasses and your plates and forks and cloth napkins. And then there's usually food vendors. We don't leave here in France. I mean, a block party, you could end up with a cold bucket of chicken and someone made potato salad a few days ago and brings it. It's a potluck. The French word I think here is for potluck is what a.
Oh, I've forgotten that one.
It's like a Spanish table in French. What do you say?
I have one, but it's.
Abaget. No. Anyway, sorry.
But usually when you take your leftovers, that's what the Spanish would call a paella. I mean, originally,
Yeah.
but that's not probably not what
There's
we're
another
looking
word
for.
for it. Anyway, but usually, and so it's really hit. But like at the Village Fête, there'll be caterers or traiteurs, I guess you say it. Yeah. Food vendors that come and you can do all 3 courses still, right? You're going to go over here to get your entree. You're going to go over here to get your plat. Then you'll go over here to get your dessert, and you eat together. You buy a bottle of wine. I mean, it's a whole, and then often, at least where we are in the Southwest, there's usually music and dancing afterwards. And I mean, so many times, you're out until, they often go till midnight at least.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is that you will look around, and at midnight still, there is people in their 80s, there are children, there are families. I mean, it's everyone. In the U.S., I think often we tend to, groups, sort of age groups are more separated and kind of stick together. And in France, I love that where you see people across the generations all together, just enjoying time together. And it's really, it feels much more like, I don't want to use the word formal event. And yet there's a bit of a rhythm to the evening, and it's relaxed, but there's
Yeah.
it's
I don't know how
still
it can
organized.
be relaxed but formal, but
Isn't
it is
that an
kind of a
odd
blend.
thing?
Definitely would not go there to buy a piece of land. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
But yeah, I get that. No, right. It's
the French has the word convivial.
convivial.
I don't know exactly what the English equivalent is.
It's funny, I was looking for actually that.
Yeah. It's like this sense of conviviality. Well, I guess in the U.S. we do say conviviality, which it's just this joy of being together. I mean, I think we use it slightly different, but it really, it's probably one of my favorite things because it brings together this sense of valuing time with those close to you and relationships and food.
All right. Well, food is important for us.
It brings
So
together
big
some of the
deal.
most important
That's on the
things.
top of the list.
And in a beautiful setting because we're out in the countryside. And I love Paris too. It's beautiful. But, it's a completely different setting out in the countryside.
France is very diverse.
It is. It's incredible
It looks
that
small,
way.
but yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of landscape, people.
Yes. You find so many different things.
You did a video, went viral, like more than 2 million views, I think, or something like that, like
was
American Myth busted or debunked or busted.
Yeah.
And you talk about, many things, but one of those was like the different sense of freedom between US and EU. Well, this one got my attention because it's like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
What did you mean?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it a little bit in there, the idea that, and this was not our idea. I read this somewhere and I tried to find it again to give credit, but could not locate it. But the idea that Americans are very concerned with freedom to carry a gun, freedom to speak about however they want to, the freedom to do things. Whereas many of the laws and the way citizens are concerned in the U.S. or in Europe is more, and France specifically, because that's where we are, is the freedom from violence, the freedom from your religion being imposed on me. So the freedom from oppression, and so that really struck us because it rang very true.
So it's the same word, but a different angle, you would say.
It's a completely different perspective, I think, that the two, not everyone, but that the two societies and two cultures really have on.
No, but it does. I mean, it's funny you say that because, talking as like a French native, I would say, indeed, we see the US as being very, I'd say, opinionated and very strong about, indeed, freedom of speech. And we don't necessarily think that about that in a bad way, okay? It's just that, yes, it does sound and look different, the way you want to express freedom compared to the way we do. I've never thought about this the way you did. I think it's a good interpretation to be studied.
Yeah, the thing that struck me is almost immediately we have the most wonderful French viewers. They have such thoughtful comments, and it surprised us. We didn't expect when we started making videos for Americans that we would develop this wonderful French following that help us understand things better. They add perspective, and many of them commented that there's a saying in French, and I don't know exactly how it goes in French because most of them wrote it in English, but that your freedom ends where mine begins. And
the saying is like, la liberté des uns s'arrête là où commence celle des autres.
Ah oui, c'est ça. But I thought, that's it. That's the thing that I feel, in some ways, it feels that the line has gotten very blurry in the U.S. that where that line is that, yes, I have freedom to do certain things, but if it begins to impinge on yours, then that is where we need organization and laws and, things that so that we can all live happy, peaceful lives and not feel as if we're being constricted. And I think that France does that. Honestly, I appreciate that about some of the hate speech laws, which I know that people in the U.S. will sometimes see as a lack of freedom of speech, but they're aimed at the type of speech that I'm not sure adds anything to public discourse and also affects people negatively.
And we like to speak a lot.
Yeah, it's not
Absolutely.
not as if the French don't share their mind.
Oh, we do. We're very, very opinionated, even when there's no reason to be. But yeah, that's why we need the 2 hours minimum dinner parties or stuff.
It is. I mean, you have to debate things like, the Saint Nectaire. Do you like is it the orange rind or the gray rind?
It's got to be the gray rind.
Yeah, it's got to be the gray rind. Yeah. I mean, there's strong opinions about this. We've had long discussions.
Yeah. Well, food is always going to be top of the list of the discussion topics, but politics, it's funny. Apparently, I've been told recently, maybe you can, I either confirm or deny, in the US, you don't speak that much, especially in family, about politics and stuff.
Oh, it's scary to do that.
Because in France, we could talk about pretty much anything. Actually, the more controversial, probably the better, because it will lengthen that dinner time.
That's so true. So
we've been pleasantly surprised since we've been here. I think in the U.S. it is often, it feels like a dangerous subject to talk about, even with people that you're close with.
Actually, especially with people that you're close with, because I think often, and this has become, to me, one of the most difficult and saddening things right now, is that your politics are so internalized as part of your identity in the U.S. that it's hard for people to have open discussions about maybe a policy and separate the idea of it's like not an attack on you as a person, but this idea that maybe we need to change something or the way we approach something or a law. But it feels to me often that it's like you're on this side or you're on this side. And there isn't much nuance, which the French are so good at nuance and gray areas. And right now it feels like there's a lot of either you're with me or you're against me. And it's actually that, and even within families, that can cause real difficult moments, I guess, and real problems. And it's really sad because it feels like something that could be really productive if people can talk about it and bring different perspectives, but be able to find a good solution. And instead, it's often very, like part of your identity is probably the closest thing I can think of.
Think so.
So then if someone doesn't agree with you, they're really attacking you as a person versus
I definitely did have a lot of family dinners where I wouldn't say we were fighting each other, but like actually trying to argue with you if they know you don't share their political views.
Yeah.
And well, I'm not saying this is good, but and it definitely creates those 2 or 3 hours dinners. Definitely. That's why we need a lot of time.
Yeah. Do you think though the French are able to then walk away from that dinner and continue on their lives, or are those things like, is it able to be a real debate at the table and then you can move on and it doesn't change your feelings about the person?
We never move on. Because that's why we protest.
Never move on.
But we can have the debate, yes.
Yeah. Because I think that's a very, there's an American friend we have here and he's been here 10 years. He's been married. His kids are French. And he was saying that often he would have these intense conversations within his wife's family or, with other French friends, and he felt very, what's the word? Like really engaged, right? As to the point that he thought, why are all these people being assholes about what I think? And sorry, I should have asked you if I could cuss. And then he finally realized, wait, this isn't the US. This is like fun, right? They're enjoying this discussion. Whereas in the US, if I was having this discussion, I would feel that people were really attacking me and that everyone's going to be upset after this. And that's not where this is going. They're
going to try to convince you. Usually this is how I felt. Obviously it's difficult to generalize. Yeah. The way I feel about this is usually they're trying to convince you.
Yeah.
Although, probably we're human beings, same as the US. It's probably lost already. But if they don't share your views, what I mean. But they're going to try to convince you. Yeah.
Yeah, but he said, I didn't realize there's more room for that disagreement and for people to be okay with, while they're going to argue for their point, if at the end you still don't disagree, it's okay. It doesn't mean anything about me. It doesn't mean anything about you. But we've had an interesting discussion.
We like to. This is something I really. Yes, I think the French like to. I would say complain to your face in a way. Like if they don't like what you say, or if they have a strong opinion about something, they'll want to share that. That they don't want to think something, not say it, and then complain in your back or something. No, they want to say it to your face.
Yeah.
Hopefully changing your mind about it. We both know humans, like people usually don't change. No, for that we normal. But yes, and again, I think the debate and talking for hours about something and camping on your position is
Yeah. So it is. There's some similarities there, but I definitely think the way it goes down feels a bit different here.
Oh, well, hopefully.
Yeah.
You're selling me. I'm sold. Where do I sign up? Well, it's indirectly, nicely leaning into a conversation, a topic I wanted to touch base on, which is like you personally also have helped hundreds of Americans move to France, either advised or worked with them. And so has it been, you've had like a much deeper understanding of the bureaucratic system in France and, everything that even the French love, let's be honest. This is ironic. So yeah, well, can you elaborate on that?
I think that often, and you'll have to tell me if this doesn't actually answer your question, but often when people consult with us, they tell us they want to move to France because not only are they drawn to the culture, but they're looking for a slower pace of life. And we hear this a lot, this idea of, especially people who I think may be drawn more to the countryside, smaller village life. And I've come to realize it's not actually a slowness because in France, everyone still has a full life. The farmers that we're friends with outside of our village, they have a very full life. Those cows don't take any days off, okay?
No, they don't.
But there's a sense of richness and presence to each day and when you do things that I think the French bring. And once you're here and you see that, if you're sitting down to have a cafe, that's what you're doing in that moment.
Right.
And you're going to be doing things all day. But each thing you're doing, if you're with someone, you're focused on them. If you're doing your work, I have found we've been so impressed. I don't care what people say about French customer service. I'm impressed over and over again at the pride French people take in their work. And when they're not working, they're not working. But when they are, I find often that they really put a lot of thought into doing a good job and fulfilling whatever that duty is. So there's just this richness, I think, that I didn't expect. So it's not a slowness, it's more like a presence and really enjoying and making the most of whatever that thing is you're doing.
Being engaged.
Yes, and I think that makes everything feel differently. Whereas in the US, I think often you're thinking about the next thing you're going to do while you're doing whatever you're doing now.
I think that's a big part of the adjustment process and what really distinguishes a vacation from moving and living here. Because that's hard too. It's hard to kind of change your life and all those experiences that you're going through. It just feels very different to be living that. And at first, it kind of puts you out of sorts a little bit because this is not how we would go through every day, right? Yeah. And it kind of touches so many different aspects of life, whether it's at the store, at dinner, interacting with friends, dealing with people on the phone, trying to get your electricity plan changed, all of these things, right?
Fun stuff.
Yeah, it's not all fun, but it's all a little different than I think what we were used to in the U.S. And it's not bad, it's good, but it's an adjustment, I think.
Yeah.
And it takes a while till you kind of fit into this, and it stops feeling foreign and different, and it just feels like this is just what every day is like now.
Yeah.
It definitely, I will at least buys into the narrative I like to tell myself about who I think we are, the French. Because yes, it does seem as, it's a small anecdote, but we my wife and I, we were at a wedding party, and then we were staying at a hotel. It was mostly Americans. That was just this weekend, and that was near Bordeaux in Cognac for those who like strong liquor, and that was I was surprised that this hotel was mostly most of the guests were Americans, and it was funny because I was there with my wife. Well, dinner took like 2.5 hours, like it should.
I would say that's normal.
But it was funny because the other guests, like the non-French, there were a few French people, but that was really funny because I could tell, well,
You're getting antsy.
who is French and who isn't, because everyone that's French, people were talking, husband and wife or like friends, and we could see all of those people's the face on their phone and stuff like this. I'm not saying you're all like that. I'm not saying that.
No, many of
I could
us are.
say the conversation was not engaged, and like people were basically waiting for the bill and stuff. Like you could tell, they were even sometimes upset because it wasn't moving fast enough.
Yeah.
And I think it's just expectations are different. I'm not saying this is better or worse. I'm just saying expectations are different.
Yeah.
When I'm with you, I'm supposed to be with you. This is the expectation in France. Like, if I share my time with you, you're sharing your time with me. Right. So, I respect that. Yes. And so this is my duty to be engaged in a way.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, that's such a, I think that observation holds true for us too. When we go back to the U.S. now and we're with friends and you eat in like 45 minutes. And I think like, I didn't have time with you yet. Like, it's not time. What are we doing? And same thing when people come to visit us now, even at our house, meals take much longer now. We find like, we just stay at the table longer. It's like the time to connect for the day.
Food is better now.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to be cheeky.
But when we have guests, I see them getting a little like, are we still here? Because as Americans, often eating especially is something that we do before we do something else or while we do something else. I think there was one interview I watched of yours where you talked about getting food from a food truck and the point was to eat it on the walk back and you were like, wait, hold on, I got to stop and have this. And it made me laugh because I realized the last time we got a crepe on the street, I had to stop and eat it, and then I could move on. I couldn't walk and eat anymore.
You're turning.
I'm losing the ability. It's like some strange evolution. But because I think there's something, again, about that presence of like, this is what I'm doing now, and I'll be here doing this thing now, just like I'm here with you now. So it's, I don't know, that is one of the biggest adjustments, but also one of the biggest joys, I think, of discovering, because when you're surrounded by other people who are relaxed and taking that time, it suddenly makes it easier for you to be able to.
It's contagious in a good way.
It is contagious. That's a good way to say it.
Yeah. In a good way. Because I was cheeky, I'm going to be even more cheeky because I have a quick fire round of questions for you. I love this one. I don't know who's going to answer, but you're on the crossfire now.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll change this one because I had baguette or croissant, but that's too simple. I should say pain au chocolat or chocolatine.
Oh, chocolatine.
You're not going to make it.
Yeah.
If you move to France or consider France, you're going to see there's a war going on about this one. Okay. Do you have a favorite French word? And it cannot be écureuil.
No, it is not. Pamplemousse.
Oh, that's a good one.
Translate it for the
my favorite. Grapefruit. I just love the way it sounds.
Okay, now that you've been in France for a while, have you switched to the sweet breakfast, or are you still for the the salty ones, or eggs and bacon and stuff?
I'm still a savory breakfast guy. Yeah.
Savory breakfast.
I mean, that is partly
Both of you?
because of his diabetes. So it's partly like health reasons, but also eggs.
Same both of you.
We're here. A good croissant is hard to pass up, but I do still love some eggs for breakfast.
This one, you only have to pick one. Okay, there's just one that's allowed: wine, cheese, or pastry.
Oh, why would you ask this question?
How could you?
This is the game.
Okay.
Pastry.
I know. I'd have to pick pastry too. Oh,
Okay. No. Well, we're gonna judge. Another one. Just one is allowed, but per person. Red, white, or champagne? Wine, obviously.
Champagne.
Ooh, a white.
Yeah.
What?
The Sancerre, yeah.
Monsieur's a connoisseur. Okay. This one maybe preferred French celebration. I mean, there's quite a few, but let's pick so the local fête de village, or I'll call it the English way, the Bastille Day. We call that the 14 juillet. But
yeah, that's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's funny when we talk about Bastille Day and we just get blank stares from French people.
Yeah, we don't know
what
that.
What are you talking about?
But then French people will often ask us about Independence Day, and we're like, "You mean July 4th?" So it's exactly the same thing.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah. We say
Oh,
July
wow.
4th more. I mean, it does exist, but like.
Well, whereas Bastille Day, no one says that in France. I mean, we don't
Yeah.
even know that. Yeah.
No one.
Some people probably don't even know this is the day we took the.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm not sure if this is unique to Southwest France, but those summertime village fêtes, they're my
South,
favorite.
yeah, South definitely. Well, they probably have some in the north as well, but it's definitely a lot in the south.
It's a whole season.
It
It's not
is,
one
2
event.
months.
You can really
Two
just soak it
months.
in. Yeah, it's
'cause-
fantastic.
Yeah, you've lived around there. I mean, you can go to one every single night. Like around us, the Maries, they coordinate so that they're on different nights. So you could go to one every night, except for Mondays. That's the night we rest.
All right. Well, that's been amazing. I mean, we could talk for hours, I'm certain, but obviously we won't hold up the audience for too long. Before we leave, when can people get in touch with you? I mean, you're on the internet, but
We are on the internet, yes. But our official address, you can find us. Our YouTube channel is Baguette Bound, and we have a website by the same name. But
which is like
probably-
baguettebond.com, I think, or something. Yeah?
Yes,
Baguettebound.com.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
great.
Thanks.
And it's okay. They can get in touch direct then.
Yes.
Jason, Raina, that's been a pleasure. We'll probably keep on talking, but off camera, and we can
Yes.
say some even more controversial stuff. But thank you for being on the show. That's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, this was great.
This was lovely.
Thank you. See you
right.
soon.
À bientôt.
À bientôt.